Hey everybody, what's up? I'm Laura and you're watching Atomic News TV, and today I have
Jennifer Harrison, AZ Patriots.
You guys have asked how Jen is for a while, so I figured, earlier in this week I had Jim on the show via the phone because he lives in another state. But since Jen is like a stone's throw away from my house, I had her come over here. That way you guys have a chance to talk to her. We'll later in the show we will have call-ins. It's been a while since I've done that. And so if anybody wants to talk to Jen, we'll do that in the second half of the show. Welcome everybody. If you're new here, make sure you're subscribed to the channel. Make sure you hit that like button when you get in the room, and make sure you share this video too as well when it finishes uploading. Tonight, if you want anything to jump out at us in the chat room, make sure you do either the @AtomicNews, and then that way it highlights your comment to me. Or if you want to super chat tonight, hit that $sign where you're typing. And if you're feeling frisky, you can donate to my channel. But as usual, if not, that's okay. I still want you here. So let's get into it. I'm gonna give the camera here to Jen and let her kind of update you guys about what's going on in her world with AZ Patriots and her and everything like that. Because I know I've talked about her, a few times on my show, and even if I'm not talking about Jen, you guys are asking, what's up with Jen?
Yeah, so, I've been kind of laying low for the last couple of weeks. My lawyer told me, zip it, go home, be quiet, and don't say too much. And that was before the case got scratched. So I don't even know where to start. So, I've always had,
kind of refresh them on, just in case somebody doesn't know the whole story, maybe,
right,
as much as you can.
Right. So, I've always kept my personal life, personal and private, and my political life out in the open. But, I am an open person. I wear my heart on my sleeve. I really have nothing to hide. If anybody, wanted to know anything about my personal life, most people just ask, hey, what's going on with blah, blah, blah. But for the most part, I kept, things private. And, I was going through a separation with my ex-husband, who, we've divorced since 2004. So it's not like it was a recent divorce. We were on again, off again, whatever. Ugly separation. And, he always threatened to call the media when we fought. So there's that. And yeah. And so, he had me arrested on some family BS nonsense. And, that the media was just in a frenzy, man. They treated me like I was Jodi Arias.
Right? It was everywhere.
It was everywhere. My mugshot. Basically, it was, over like a shared family rewards account, right? So it was my login information, my email address, my credit card, my everything that was used to make this reservation. And I can't really go too much into anything about that, but it was all my information. I did not put in anybody else's information. But they tried to say that I took the identity of another, which I clearly did not.
Yes.
And showed up at my house. I ran to go get a coffee, and when I pulled back in my driveway in my pajamas in the morning, they showed up at my house and drugged me off to jail. Okay, while I was in the police station, the detective said, you don't get to just put on makeup and push your tits up and think you're above the law.
They said that to you?
He said that to me. So I was like, you know what? I was pissed. I was pissed, one, because I was being set up on this bogus crime.
Right.
Two, I was being detained and I didn't know if I was going to jail. So I'm like livid. And then he makes that comment. So I start getting a little mouthy. And he's like, you need to shut up. I'm like, or what? And he's like, or I'm going to come over there and pound you. I'm like, come on over here and pound me. And so then I kicked the trash can. Yes, I did kick the trash can. That is true. Okay. Not fake news. I did kick the trash can. But I was just, sexually harassed. To me, that is a sexual harassment comment. When you're making comments about my tits, which has nothing to do with this arrest,
right,
or my makeup, or pounding me, come on, right? And it was such a petty little insignificant family drama BS. They could have just issued me a summons to appear. No, they hauled me down to 4th Avenue, and the officer said, you're going to be in there. It's crowded. You're going to be in there with all the illegals. So I don't know if he said that just because he knew like what I did. Yeah. And so while we're at the 4th Avenue jail, they're making comments like she's from AZ Patriots. She thinks she's entitled. The detective actually wrote in the probable cause for arrest statement, he wrote, she thinks she's above the law. So that is a opinion, his random delusional opinion that they wrote in the probable cause statement. So the media gets a hold of this, okay? Somebody calls the media. I'm not even out of jail yet, okay?
And they are.
And my mugshot is being circulated everywhere. Not just one mugshot, but 2. So they use the mugshot from Surprise Police Department and the mugshot from 4th Avenue Jail. And the 4th, yeah, I'm crying, like I'm upset.
Right.
Anybody would be upset. And I'm the kind of person that like when I get so emotionally distraught, like I'm either gonna cry or I'm going to kill you. Like there's no in between. And so yeah, I was upset and I was like, I knew the media was gonna get a hold of this immediately. So that was my main concern. I should have smiled for the mugshot photo. But whatever.
Pushed your tits up.
Right. What was I thinking? Not using my boob privilege. But yeah, so it was total bogus charge. And they kept me there for the max. I spent the night in jail for like 23 hours.
How was the food?
The food was horrible. In fact, the smell of peanut butter made me sick for like a week. I couldn't get the smell out of my nose. So they give you these peanut butter packets and a loaf of bread and a little packet of jelly and orange. And we use the bread for the pillow, right? And then maxi pads were like a huge commodity. And like you piece them together and stick those on your piece of bread.
Yeah.
And you have a nice little pillow. So I was in there for like 23 hours. Michael, my angel here, did not leave the jail. He sat outside the entire time.
That's love.
Yes. So, the next morning I saw the judge. They let me out. No bail, no bond. And then the case was scratched. So they never filed charges, right? I think it was just a hit job.
Yeah.
I
wonder why they couldn't or didn't,
right. Right. So, they didn't really have anything to charge me with. There was no crime committed. So yeah, I mean, that's kind of where we're at. I had to spend a couple grand on an attorney. My attorney that handled the SPLC case is amazing. And he's like, why did you say anything? Because that's like rule number 1 too. When they say you have the right to remain silent, do not say anything, because they will take any little thing that you say to twist and fit their narrative to arrest you. So, but when you're innocent and you didn't do anything wrong, like naturally you want to defend yourself. You want to stand up and speak up for yourself. But that was my mistake. So my attorney, Mike called our attorney, and he called in a buddy, and that guy appeared for me telephonically. And even I'm like, whoa. He's like, quiet, just be quiet.
So what kind of happened like online? Like what kind of backlash did you
Oh my God. So online, so during the middle of, my family drama on one side, the political, drama on the other side, the arrest and everything in between, like, my daughter and I, we've always, butted heads. She's a lot like me.
Sounds like me and my daughter.
In a way, and a lot like her dad in another way. Obviously she's hurt and upset. She wrote a public comment that the left and those on the right have screenshotted, and like it's like on a throne somewhere, like on the the Jen obsession wall. And
yeah, that exists too.
They just pump it out there whenever they they just want to hurt me. And I'm not gonna say it doesn't hurt that my relationship is strained with my daughter right now, but again, these are my personal things, and everybody has family issues, right?
And that's how ugly the left is.
Exactly.
That's what they have to pick out and use.
Exactly.
They're
so
ugly inside.
We put ourselves out there to bring you guys stories and show you what's going on, but we're also just regular human beings too, right? I mean, we all have a past, we all have family drama, we all have things that go on in our lives that we don't want in the public eye. But unfortunately for me, my entire family history and all my family drama was on the news.
Yeah. And the left ate it up.
They ate it up, and the right. And the right. Because a lot of it was perpetuated by some of our enemies on the right. And it's sad, phony, but I can honestly say I understand why young people commit suicide over cyberbullying because it is so deep and it is so ugly and vile and hateful and nasty and
they hide behind that screen and I think that they're invincible and they can do anything to you.
Absolutely.
And it's really disgusting. But luckily you're a very rock solid person.
Yeah. I mean, I would never do that, but I can understand, how some people that aren't as strong could do that. But it was a lot of hate, and what was important for me to let people know was you're not gonna break me.
Right.
This isn't gonna tear me down.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like if I had $1 for every bad news story written about me, I'd be a wealthy woman.
They were sitting there and yes, when it happened, and now you sit back and you're like,
right. I spent a night in jail. Like that was the worst part of it, right? Honestly, the food was so cold, and I spooned with a couple women. Like when I first got listen, this is a funny story, you guys. This is a funny story. So when I first got there, I'm like, I did anything wrong, right? And I'm sitting in the corner by myself with my loaf of bread, right? And these girls are like, you wanna come lay down and stay warm? And I'm like, no, I'm okay. I don't know you like that, right? By the 18th hour that I'm in there, it was so cold that 8 of us, just one giant spoon on the floor.
Did you make any long-lasting friendships?
No. But by the 18th hour, they're like, come lay down. I'm like, okay, just don't look at me. But yeah, I didn't want people to know who I was. Right. That was, because I'm like, shit, I'm gonna get jumped in here.
Right. Well, Johnny Horton, Jr., who was United Constitutional Patriots, got jumped in jail by illegals.
Right.
So
I just played the role. You know what? I laid low, kept my mouth shut, and didn't really talk a whole lot. Made friends with a couple of really big Latina girls. So I was good.
You're not a racist?
No.
Oh my gosh.
No, I spooned. We spooned.
She spooned with Hispanic people.
We spooned. And one of them wanted to put cornrows in my hair, but I had to draw the line there. Because my hair was so nappy because we were at the concert the night before, so I teased it, and it was it was bad. So anyway, long story short, so I get out, right, and media is just in a frenzy. They're on my doorstep, they're contacting people, do you want to make a comment,
and wasn't was it Univision or who was it that was camped out on your
Univision? Was we had to go buy some no trespassing signs and post them up in the front lawn so they wouldn't, come on the property, and then so now the articles are starting to come out a little more in depth, right? And they're like, oh, even her daughter hates her. They're based off that comment, and and they're just judging it up to make me like this monster. Like it was treated like Jodi Arias, literally treated like Jodi Arias. And so a couple months before, I was appointed a PC in my LD. So the PC is a precinct committee man, and we have a little more pull as far as getting certain positions elected, people elected, getting the president elected, and it's a conjoined effort from the PCs, really, door knocking, getting involved in your community,
right,
doing the things that we need to do, right? So they made me a PC. So the left and this non-journalist, I call him, from the AZ Mirror, who's been trolling us, did a article that he actually went down and they complained to the board of supervisors that I was a PC. So they had a whole meeting about me that I wish I could have attended had I known, but that's how ridiculous it is. So then I, as the week progresses, Politics Unplugged with Dennis Welch on 3TV, he does a whole piece on me, and he has the leader of the NAACP on, who straight up says Jennifer Harrison is a criminal. Wow. And I'm like, wow, you know what? Wow. Is it because I'm white?
You were guilty before you were proven innocent.
Exactly. And He stands for the NAACP, and I'm sure they wouldn't do the same if it was a Black person that was wrongfully arrested, not charged, and smeared in the media. He wouldn't be calling them a criminal.
Right.
So he's next on my list to go have a talk with. Because I did run into so what's his face, Dennis Welch, and I called him out. I'm like, stop harassing me on the local news.
I noticed. It was
awkward. It was awkward, but he's annoying. He's annoying, and they use clips of audio of people that it's not even me.
I saw that video, and I was like, that's not her.
It's not even my words. And then they use my face and my name to paint me out to be this monster.
I recognize one of those voices.
Yep, it's ridiculous.
It was not her.
It was not me.
Thank you, Benny. He says you ladies are very beautiful.
Thank you, Benny.
Yeah, I definitely recognize one voice. The other person, I didn't know who it was, but I was like, both voices, not Jen.
Yeah.
And then they clip right to you, and I was like, hi, you know what that is?
Listen, you fake news. You fake news.
Yes. She loves that.
Yes.
And that's what I need to get her next.
Yes.
I got her a Trump doll, and so now I need to get her a fake news button.
Yes. So that's kind of where we're at with things. Things have kind of settled down a little bit in the media, and we're just right back at it. There was the Trump Jr.'s book signing, and I just jumped right into that pile of leftists on the street. I'm like, and they're coming at me with, oh, they let you out of jail. Oh, you're a meth addict and this, that, and the other thing. And I'm just taunting them, right? I'm like, look at this beautiful smile. Does this look like the teeth of a meth addict?
Thank you, right?
And so, they're just like, I'm going to kill you. But I just smile and laugh. That's all we can do, right?
Right. Have a nice day.
That's right. I mean, we have thick skin, luckily. We wouldn't do this if we didn't.
Awesome. Well, we do want to talk a little bit about the border today. I am going to let you guys call in. So I am going to give you guys the number to call in case, you need to gear up and, kind of get yourself together and whatever to call in. Some people are like that. Some people are nervous when they call in. So
don't be nervous.
Don't be nervous.
You guys call too.
Yes. Jen doesn't bite. And
I don't bite.
Yeah, she doesn't bite. And we all know that I do, but that's okay. So I'm going to pull up a few articles, and I'll kind of give you guys a rundown about the article, and then it'll be interesting to hear your guys' feedback and, Jen's input on this, because she has personally been down to the border more times than I can count on my both hands and both toes. Okay. So she definitely knows what's going on the border. We all know I've been covering the border for quite a long time, even from afar when I was in Illinois. But I have not been down to the border as many times as Jen. So, we brought in the experts today.
Well, you know what? What's interesting though, right before you get to that?
Yeah.
So, just to kind of backtrack this on how long they were kind of messing with me, as many times as we've been to the border, I've never gotten stopped, questioned, pulled over, anything. So I made a post, saying, hey, going to the border tomorrow. If anyone wants to join me, here's where I'm going. On my way back from Yuma, I'm pulling through the checkpoint, the Border Patrol checkpoint. And as I'm driving through it, I'm just normally giving my normal wave.
Right.
And as many times as I've been there, never had a problem. As I'm waving, one agent is approaching me with the dog. And he's like, pull over, the dog signaled. And I'm like, there's no way the dog signaled before, like the dog signaled that far away. Like the dog wasn't even near my car. So I'm like, whatever. I pull over into the secondary area. They asked me to step out of the car. I put my hands up. They disarm me, take my gun out of the holster, unchamber it, take the magazine out, put it away. The dog goes all through my car in the trunk. They pull out my entire trunk. They pull apart like the seam that like.
No way.
Yes, they were going through my purse, my wallet. And at one point I'm like I felt a little violated.
Yeah.
I'm like, normally I support you guys, but don't you need a search warrant for this? This seems like a little much. They didn't, of course they didn't find anything, but I just felt like I was like, that was leading up to this arrest. Like I was being set up in some way.
Well, I mean, they do target us.
Yeah.
They do. I mean, they censor us. You know, you guys already know my channel was shut down once before. I've been taken out of the algorithms. My videos are no longer suggested on other videos. My videos suggest my videos.
Right.
But,
Right.
You know,
Right.
and they do that to Patriots, and you know, they've targeted Anthony in Texas. They've targeted Guardian Patriots. You know, yeah. Mm-hmm. It's a real thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a real thing. So I saw this article from the Washington Times, and I had to read it again. I'm like, what the? No way. Okay, so this was on September 10th. So this was a little while ago, but it says DHS confirms no new border wall yet. And I was like, I can think of one area right now that's new.
Right.
It says the administration still has yet to fence in any new miles of border with President Trump's wall, a top Homeland Security official acknowledged. Though he said that's not the right way to look at the problem. Acting Customs and Border Protection Commissioner Mark Morgan told reporters that 78 miles of wall has been erected under Mr. Trump, but all of it has replaced outdated fencing or barriers that had previously existed. None of it has blocked off a portion of the border where there hasn't previously been some type of barrier. So I was like,
and where's that
at? Where's this photo at?
Mm-hmm.
You know what, it doesn't really say.
It says Yuma though?
No, oops, I lost our article. Hold on. Let me bring it back up. I'm like, this is not, I think this is fake news.
Right.
Yeah, it
Well,
doesn't really
Washington
say.
Times.
Yeah. Where does that look like? It could be, I don't know. It's too hard to tell. The
That
border
could
looks
be
the same
Yuma.
anywhere, but it kind of looks a little bit like Yuma.
It does.
Because there are trees down there like that.
Right, and they are putting out that big bollard style fencing right alongside the vehicle barrier. But because there's a reservation there too, there's not going to be any wall by the reservation. So it's going to go wall, open for the res, and then wall.
Because the res won't give it up.
So where do you think they're going to go? I mean, they're going to go in between.
Right through the reservation.
Right. And then I also read an article that the return to Mexico policy is different from Texas, Arizona, California.
Really?
And that Arizona isn't complying with the return to Mexico.
Oh.
Excuse me. And so, yeah. And so right after the article was pumped out, then 132 came through Sassabee, Arizona.
Yes, yes.
So I think the migrants are, catching on that Arizona, they're going to have an easier ride in Arizona if they can get through. So
because they can still get through near Arivaca.
Right.
In those mountains.
Right. And the weather is cooling off now. So I have a feeling that it's going to be just a free-for-all push to come through.
Right. And we still need to work with that group down there in Arivaca and get escorted through the mountains into what's called Cocaine Alley. I think I mentioned that on my channel before. It's a very dangerous area. That's where they literally backpack it in. They're in camouflage and they backpack it in. And they have drop sites of food and water, and that's where no more deaths. They put some of their drops, and I filmed one that was kind of open, off the side of the road, and I was like, "What is this?" And apparently, though, there's a lot of them hidden in the mountain, and the groups down there know where those are, and they seemed really open and and to want to take us through.
Yeah, and that area by Sassabee too. It's like, it's just vehicle barrier that separates the two countries, and there was literally jugs, gallons of water with little notes written on them with a date that was like 2 days before we were there. So these supplies were just left there: water, food, tuna cans, stuff like that, with coordinates and messages. And then there's all these roads in Mexico that lead right to that spot. So all they have to do is literally drive right up.
Yep.
Get out, hop that little vehicle barrier, and they're in. And we were walking around, and we found some notes that were pretty fresh because the paper wasn't brown.
Or wet
or crumpled. And
And I know where I found mine, there was a sign that says humanitarian aid is not a crime. And I'm like, right, yeah, it's not a crime, but guess who's coming through this area?
Right.
Criminals,
Right.
drug traffickers.
Right.
So why are we giving humanitarian aid to people like that?
Exactly.
They deserve what they get.
Right. A ride home.
Yeah. Thank you.
Right.
Please drive through. Go back.
Wait in line. Take a number. Do not pass go.
So if there's anybody that wants to jump in and call in and give us your thoughts on that particular subject, you guys, the number is area code 480-216-6140. Moderators, you can throw up that number. That number, once again, is 480-216-6140. Sometimes people will like nonstop call in, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it's like crickets, and I'm like, hello, Bueller?
Right.
So we never know what's going to happen. But moderators, keep throwing the number up for me, please. That way, anybody who jumps in the live stream and didn't hear what we were doing, they get the number.
Call me.
Right. So one of the other articles that like caught my attention this week too was about Border Patrol catching Russians crossing the border. Okay. Now, I know I've talked to you guys before about how it's not just people from Mexico or Central America coming through that border.
Right.
It's people from any country.
Right.
They take advantage of the fact that we have a crisis on the border and we have loopholes in our immigration laws.
Right.
And it doesn't matter where they come from, okay? And Russians, Russians are not Hispanic, okay?
Right.
They're majority white, okay? And do we have a problem with Russians coming over
the border?
The
left
yes.
hates Russians.
Yes.
Now what?
Right? We're all Russian bots according to them.
Right.
Okay, so this just proves, for all those people out there that like, oh, Atomic News is racist. Oh, Basic Patriots is racist.
Right.
Okay, Russians are white, for the most part. Okay,
right.
And we don't want them coming over the border either.
No,
okay,
no,
unless they do it the legal way.
Right.
So this was an article that was sent out by. Oh my God! Wait, did somebody just call and I missed it? Hold on. Yes, my ringer was up. Maybe it wasn't. Whoever that was, call back in. Call me. 480-216-6140. Sorry about that. I don't know what happened and what my phone. Oh, wait.
There goes.
Oh, that's why.
Oh, you're blocking people?
Yeah, this is my prank caller.
Oh.
That's why, because my phone is set to block that. And it keeps coming through. That's why it keeps flashing. It's doing that. See, there we go. They're trying again.
Prank caller.
Nice try.
Lame.
Sometimes it's entertaining, but
yeah.
So Border Patrol agent shoots Russian allegedly.
We shot him?
Yeah.
Wow.
Trying to sneak into the U.S. Okay, and this one came out from Fox
We don't
News.
shoot the Guatemalans.
Yeah. So
there's that.
A Border Patrol agent shot and wounded a Russian citizen who appeared to be trying to enter the United States illegally from Mexico, the Border Patrol said. Okay, so they use that border, doesn't matter what country they come from, and they take advantage of us and they cross the border. The agent was trying to arrest the man just after 7:15 p.m. on the U.S.-Mexico border east of Lukeville, Arizona. Customs and Border Protection said in their statement. As the agent attempted to arrest the subject, a physical altercation ensued, and the agent discharged his firearm, striking the subject. And the agency said the injured man was flown to a Phoenix hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. The Border Patrol agent was not harmed. The FBI and the Border Patrol the FBI and the Border Patrol use of force incident team are investigating the shooting. What's there to investigate?
Right.
Right. We'll do it for you for free. Okay.
Right,
me
but
and Jen will
the
investigate.
left's not freaking out that we shot the Russian. I mean, if we had fired at a Guatemalan, the ACLU would be all over it.
Funny how the ACLU doesn't care about the Russian.
No, or the white. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. So let's add Russia to the list of countries that are crossing the border, because we know it's El Salvador, Guatemala, and they're coming from Africa, they're coming from the Middle East,
right?
They're coming from everywhere, and an article like this proves that what we're saying is not bullshit,
right?
All right,
right?
It's real. So
Right.
I guess he gave up finally.
Aw.
Oh, here's my little violin. You guys, hello. Where are you guys tonight? All right. Some nights
Yeah.
I'm not even joking. Like I'm like, hold on.
It's not that late. Well, it might be, it might be on the
Sunday.
East Coast.
Yeah, that's true. What is it? 2 hour difference?
3.
3 hour 2 hour?
2?
Something like that. Later. So, all right. And then, I talk about this a lot. Drug busts and whatnot coming over the board. They keep the most creative ways they find to bring drugs over the border. We've talked about the coconuts. Okay, hiding liquid meth in coconuts, so it looked like coconut milk. Okay,
liquid what?
Liquid meth.
Oh my god,
or something like that. Methamphetamines. I don't know. And they put it in the coconuts, so they think it was the coconut milk.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay. But they got busted.
Yeah,
the dogs.
And then another creative way was they hid it in rocks. Like they made rocks. And they made them look like rocks, like for landscaping and stuff like that.
Right.
But when they sledgehammered them, there were bags of drugs inside. Yeah. So, but recently, it was cash that they seized. So, they don't talk about cash a whole lot.
Right.
I know there's a limit to what you can bring when you cross over. Do you know what it is?
I think it's 10,000.
10,000.
I don't know.
Yeah, I think that might be right. But who walks over the border with $10,000 in their pocket? You know who?
Right.
The Brazilians.
Right.
The Brazilians.
Right.
When they're carrying their little wheelie luggage behind them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Though I haven't heard about the Brazilians recently. I wonder if they finally stopped. So this was in Tucson, apparently. U.S. Customs and Border Protection Office of Field Operations officers arrested 2 Mexican nationals and a U.S. citizen. U.S. criminals too, for separate alleged attempts to smuggle nearly $163,000 in unreported currency, as well as a pair of tactical weapons through the port of Nogales earlier this week. Now, I tell you guys all the time, Nogales is not somewhere you want to be at night.
Right.
But why would anybody be bringing this much money over the border? And the answer is drugs.
Were they coming or going? Were they leaving the U.S. or coming into the U.S.?
Let's see here. Officers conducting outgoing operations of the Dennis DeConcini crossing referred a 28-year-old Mexican national man for additional inspection. Oh, like what they did to you.
Yes.
Of his Chevy SUV as he attempted to enter Mexico through the port Monday.
Okay, so he was going into Mexico.
So he was taking the money into Mexico. Yeah. They make the money, probably find the drugs here, and then they truck it back over to Mexico. The search of the vehicle led to the discovery of several packages within the left quarter panel.
So he's hiding it. Obviously, that's shady.
Yes. The packages contained more than $142,000 in unreported U.S. currency. Wow! Look at all that money.
Yes.
Damn. I'll show you guys. I know this is so ghetto when I do this. But look at all that money. So, people.
And 2 rifles.
Yeah, and the 2 rifles. Yeah. People think all the time.
Which is a big no-no in Mexico.
Mm-hmm.
So, anytime we go to Mexico, we have to leave our vehicle with my firearm and then walk over.
Yeah.
And I'm always afraid I'm going to have like a bullet or something in my purse.
Yes, right? You're like, it's not mine.
Yeah.
No. It's not
I know.
It broke off.
Yeah. It's scary.
It is, especially Nogales. When I first moved here, like in 2005, I think it was, that was one of the things that people told me, don't go to Nogales.
Right.
I'm like, oh, okay.
Right.
Because I'm from Southern California and you can just hop on the border, go to Tijuana all the time. People go to Tijuana all the time, It's kind of like a rite of passage when you turn, 18 and go down to Tijuana.
Right.
But I haven't crossed the border since I've lived in Arizona. I mean, since the first time I was here even. Whereas, sorry, I thought I saw something out of the corner of my eye.
Mexico's fun. I enjoy Mexico, but we don't venture too far away from the border.
Of course, Mr. Atomic says no notification from YouTube went out. Of course. It's funny because, that happens to my channel all the time. It happens to, let's be frank, any patriotic channel, it happens to. my moderators don't get the notification, but I'll get the notification. It says Atomic News is live, and I'm like, no shit, Sherlock.
Right. Right.
I was wondering why it was like 43 people in here, because usually I have like 75 to 100, and so that's possible. But I know that people will go back and see the playback because it'll usually especially when I have Jen, I'll get a couple thousand views. So you guys love it, you eat it up, and with Jim and all that too. When I have people on the show, everybody goes and watches that. Plus, I share it out everywhere.
Yes.
So. I mean, it's not just drugs coming over the border. It's
Russians.
Yeah, it's Russians. It's cash. It's human trafficking. Okay, that they fill them up in semis.
Right.
That's happened a lot recently.
Right.
And what they don't even tell these people when they're coming, they shove them into these semis. They don't even tell them where they're going. They don't tell them where they are. They don't tell them anything. And they're all stuffed in there like sardines with no food and no water. And they're hot and they're sweaty, at least during the summer, that's the way it was, hot and sweaty.
Right.
Now it's nice.
Right.
But it's scary. Like, you got to be a special kind of desperate if you pay somebody to traffic you through and get you over the border.
Right.
That's a special kind of stupid too.
But I just feel like with the weather cooling down now, like we're going to start seeing.
I agree.
I don't have my phone. My phone
is It was this time last year that that first big caravan.
Yep.
It was October last year that happened.
Yep. So I have a feeling that with the weather cooling down and the return to Mexico policy not being in place for Arizona.
Hi, this is Atomic News.
Hello, Atomic News. This is Crazy Davey in Texas.
Hey, Crazy Davey. What's up?
I'm waiting on Dad to pull in the driveway so the butt whoopings can commence. When is that going to happen?
When who's going to pull in the driveway?
Daddy gets home. You know what I mean? When Papa gets home and he starts whooping butt.
Who's Papa?
It's like everything's happening all at once, and there's nobody to stop it. Nobody wants to stop it. It's crazy.
Okay, you mean what's going on the border?
On the border, yes, in the White House, or in the impeachment, the travesty. The border is under attack. Been under attack since Reagan gave amnesty. Do you remember that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, and he never closed the border. He told I don't know if you're old enough to remember, but he told us all, because I was a carpenter at the time in the local union, and he told us all that we were too lazy to do the work anymore. We didn't want to work anymore doing those labor jobs. So we had to have this new force come in. And what he left out of the equation was we didn't want to do the jobs for the money they were paying.
Right.
Because they had frozen the wage in the 70s. And then it was the 80s. Reagan came along, and it you know what? You can see that the wages haven't changed almost up to today. And now the illegals are demanding more money to work at McDonald's. And they're making the $15 we wanted back in the 80s.
That's right.
But that's the border. The border's been a problem. I'm from San Antonio, so it's a little different down there. It's a little more peaceful. But here lately, it's gotten really bad.
Do you think it's a little more liberal in San Antonio?
Yeah, it's very liberal. But hey, you're in Texas. I don't know what in the hell is going on down here. They're turning it blue. They're trying to turn us blue down here. And I think what it is all the people that are tired of the democracy that they're leaving or fleeing to Texas, and they're not leaving that crappy taste in their mouth out wherever they're from. And they come down here and they want to make it like where they came from instead of where they are.
Right. It's like leave behind. You left that for a reason, so leave what you left behind.
Yeah, don't come here and vote for the same crap that destroyed your state.
Right.
And then you look the same way at the illegals. They're bringing just what they left with them when they come. Here in Houston, I swear, I can take you down some main streets in town where they're selling cattle, livestock, like chickens. It's crazy. And they live 6 to 8 families in a house. Of course, if we did that, they'd Waco us in a minute.
Right.
They'd call us a faction and come and bust in and say, they're child raping, and they look what they're doing to these animals, and
right.
It would be a nightmare on television.
Yeah.
But it's funny. They have cut down the coverage up here on the border. They were into it there for a while, and here lately they have just cut it off. It's like it's non-existent almost. But it is election time for the mayors. You know what I mean?
Yes, it is.
You know.
So are they returning them to Mexico from Texas? So if they cross illegally in Texas, do they return them?
Well, they're supposed to.
Okay.
But again, see, we've known for years that Border Patrol is corrupt. There's some good ones there. But on the there are some corrupt ones there. They've been there. My daddy was a retired law enforcement from San Antonio for 25 years, and he told me stories. And that was back when he was a policeman in the 30s and 40s. So it's been a problem ongoing. And there were places in San Antonio that were unsafe to go until they cleaned them up. And here we go. We're right back at it again. It's unsafe to go to the Riverwalk in San Antonio anymore.
Really?
You know, yeah, because you can get mugged. It's another place where the criminals can get together and work the mob. You know, I mean, it's like Mardi Gras every night. You know.
Do you have like a problem with day workers there, where they stand out on the corner trying to pick up like yard work jobs, like jumping in the back of people's trucks?
Well, yeah, they put me out of business. So when we were fired when Reagan came in and keelhauled the labor union or labor force in this country, I opened a business for myself, and we were subcontracting drywall. Well, me and my partner did that for several years until they came in and saw that what we were doing, and they started undercutting our prices so they'd get one half day that was legal, and he'd get him 10 or 15. He would tell these people, I can have 15 people here in the morning ready to work. Well, what he's not telling them is they're not going to have tools.
They're not going to know what they're doing. Right.
They're not going to know anything.
Right.
But you're going to have 15 people running around sweeping the floor up here in the morning.
Right.
And then it goes from there. And there were times when we were on the jobs and they wanted us to train them. They wanted us to get them off the broom. They wanted us to train them, and we didn't. We told them, no, we're not going to train them to take our job because you're going to cut our throat. And you see what happened.
Right.
You know, and so it's a problem that has been brewing since Reagan gave amnesty, and it was like the pot is finally starting to bubble. And everybody's starting to see the problem because it's not just on the border states anymore. It's in mommy and daddy's backyard now.
Right. And I'm so sick of that tired argument that, they get the jobs that Americans are too lazy to do. BS. You're telling me Americans don't want construction jobs, hospitality jobs, our kids don't need fast food jobs? Baloney.
That was we all know. Those are introductory jobs to get you into the workforce, to get that experience that you need for the next job.
Right.
See, everybody forgot. I guess everyone has forgotten how things work. I mean, it's tried and true. Republic, let's go. Capitalism works like a jewel clock, and you can't beat it. We've been going this route, and now they're in here trying to turn us communists, and they have been. For a long time.
Yep.
I have never seen, in my 60 years of living on this planet, I have never seen it move this fast.
Oh, I know. And it's the schools too. So I was able to talk to a bunch of kids at the Beto rally, and just ask them why are you supporting this? And many of them said they didn't mind paying half of their paycheck in taxes if it meant that the government would provide them a house, a phone, food, their basic needs would be met if they paid half their money in taxes. And
but how many of the kids that you talked to had a job at the time?
Right, exactly right. I mean, well, and if they did have a job, then it was just such a small, insignificant job that couldn't provide, a house, a car, food, gas, phone.
Just enough to live at mom and dad's and drive daddy.
Exactly.
Crazy.
So to them, hey, if I work this, mediocre job and I have to pay half of my income to taxes, and they take that money and they give me a house, a car, food, gas. So that's their mentality, that they just, they're looking for the government to take care of them. And I feel like that's the start of, the communist regime, right? Is make the people dependent on the government.
Right. They need to take a look at North Korea and then make their decision about whether or not they want the government so involved in their everyday function.
Right.
You know?
Right. Or how about this? You go be whatever you want to be and make as much money as you want to make.
Mm-hmm.
That's freedom.
You control your own life.
That's liberty.
That's freedom.
Right.
You're
Yes,
absolutely right.
And we all know that that's what freedom is, but they keep comparing these illegals crossing the border to the people that landed in Ellis Island.
Right.
That drives me insane.
Mm-hmm.
Me too, because you know what? My grandmother did cross at Ellis Island.
Mm-hmm.
And
mine too.
She damn well didn't sneak her kids in the suitcase across the boat either, over the ocean.
My grandpa came from Spain, and she came through Ellis Island. He came up through Mexico after they conquered the Spaniards, and he moved into what he wasn't even the United States. And my great grandfather on my daddy's side was here long before it was anything. You know what I mean? So. And we've been here a while.
Ellis Island, if you were sick, they detained you, and you didn't get released into the population like they do here.
Right.
Infecting everybody.
Right. You had to assimilate. You had to assimilate to the culture, and that's another thing they're not doing. They're not assimilating to the culture, and it's again, and you see it in the schools. You see it, and now they're getting us used to the norm of these crazy drag queens going into the libraries and reading to the kids.
Yes.
Right.
Right.
And
so
the
what's
deep
it going to
equity.
be next? Well, here's Juan and his family. They need a place to live, kids. Does your mom and daddy have any spare room in their house?
Mm-mm.
Well, you need to call them and have them come up because we've got a program we're working on. You know what I mean? Juan and Maria need shelter.
Yeah.
Right.
Government can't pay for it, so we're going to put them in your house because your daddy's got a job.
Yeah, that's
you think
exactly
I'm
right.
kidding? You think they wouldn't try it?
Right. And, parents need to be careful of what, is being taught to their kids. They have the deep equity program that they're pushing here in Arizona. And some schools on the East Valley have already bought into it. And it's basically teaching these kids that, men are oppressive and white people oppress everybody. And it's making these children look at people, based on the color of their skin.
Right. It's making them
It's teaching them racism. Right. Exactly right. So,
that's exactly what they're doing. They're enforcing racism. They're embedding it and concreting the ideas into their head.
Right. So every parent needs to be completely 100% involved because that is how they're changing this country, I believe, is first and foremost through our educational institutions. Mm-hmm. These are government-funded, institutions that are so corrupt. I mean, look at Red for Ed and all the teacher union movements and what is being allowed in these schools. Why are they teaching these kids reading, writing, arithmetic, science, and history?
Wasn't it Texas that they're teaching fourth graders about anal sex?
Yes.
And I was like, what?
Oh,
yes.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah,
it's Texas, right?
Oh,
yeah, okay.
They're talking about it like it's second nature.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Mm-mm.
It's sickening.
Why can't they be kids? Why can't they go out and skateboard and ride their bikes? Why do we have to teach them this? They don't need to know it.
Exactly
as much as it scares me, I can see if this mayor gets reelected and we don't get Busby, and he's a Republican and he's with Trump. Mm-hmm. If this same mayor stays in, this town is just gonna go straight to the.
Who's your mayor there right now?
Sheila Jackson Lee, and we've got Mayor Turner. Sheila Jackson Lee. We all know what a criminal she is.
Okay, Mayor Turner. Okay, and who's running against Turner?
Busby.
Busby. Okay. All right.
Busby, yeah, and they're going into a runoff here this next weekend.
Okay.
So and everybody's in for him because he's really strong and he stands with Trump 100%. So
right on.
That's what we're trying to get in there.
Well, all right, my dear. I'm so glad that you called in tonight.
Yes, I'm sorry I stayed on the phone too long.
Hey, no, that's okay. It was a good conversation.
Good conversation.
Yeah.
Okay.
So hopefully we'll talk to you again sometime. All right.
Okay.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye.
At first, I wasn't sure where that call
was going. I'm like, this is not this kind of show, pal.
I'm like, the driveway, what?
Yeah. Daddy's coming home and he's going to bust some fun or something.
And then I'm like, okay, this guy's cool. All right, he's cool. He's good.
Yeah, you never know when you open it up on the internet who's calling.
One time, somebody prank called me and they were like asking, so do you believe in Jesus? And I was like, I don't know if this is where I want to talk about this. Yeah. And it was totally a prank call.
Yeah.
So you never know when they first start out.
And then there's that hate page, right? So the hate page.
Yes, I watched that page.
It's strictly devoted to, it was devoted to our old group as well as our group. But they've just kind of like ramped up against me. Like they have my mugshot as the profile picture. Right. And they put my phone number as the contact number.
They totally doxed her.
Yeah. So, I don't, I'll entertain the calls when they call.
When they come in.
But, it just amazes me. Like that's allowed on Facebook, right?
Well, they've been shut down once, right? But
we
then they pop back up.
were able to shut that page down twice, but they just keep making new pages.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have a huge following, maybe a couple hundred people, but still, like, they are so disgustingly vile, and Facebook allows it.
The amount of hate that comes from them.
Yes.
And they're actually saying, that she's the hate.
Right.
But it's like what they're dishing out is what they're supposed to be against.
Right.
It's completely hypocritical.
Right.
And it's sad to live your life that way. Those people are really sad.
Well, exactly. And then like they're, anybody that has a beef with me is now like, ooh, I'm going to give the hate page some juice, some back in. You know what, guys? Everybody has had a life. I'm going to be 43 years old on Wednesday. And I mean,
Somebody call in and sing happy birthday to Jen.
I obviously, I wasn't born Republican, right? And I feel like, when you're like teenage years, you're a little more liberal, right? You're like rebelling a little bit.
Right.
You're experiencing the world and, but as you like grow and mature and experience the world, it changes your views on things and it shapes, your values and, ultimately, the mature person that you become.
Right.
Right.
Where I grew up, it's like liberal central now. But I mean, my parents were conservative, and I would say they've always been Republican. But we weren't like, Bible thumping conservative, right?
My dad was a hippie.
Yeah, really?
Like a Woodstock hippie, like Afro, the whole 9 yards.
So my dad worked in the movie business. He was the head camera technician for Panavision, and like he was the man. Okay, he fixed all the movie cameras that were of importance. All right, and so I was very close to Hollywood, Malibu, all that, and now it's liberal central. And, it's funny because I just came across a video like last year's fires. In that area, I guess they burned part of my high school.
Oh, wow.
The like baseball field or something like that, and they showed it was the news showing how people donated equipment back to the high school for what was lost, and I'm like, what? I'm like, I'm from there. They don't need donations. Okay, that is a stone's throw away from Malibu. They don't need donations. I mean, yeah, it's sad, but they don't need it. It should have gone to more needy people.
Right. Like the homeless on the street.
right. But that's like, I don't know. That's the mindset out there. It's just love California. It's beautiful, but I wouldn't live there again just because of the way the people are there. Hopefully they're going to get smart with no electricity and high gas prices and fires and all that they should be voting red. So if anybody wants to call in, you guys, 480-216-6140. We can probably squeeze in one more call if somebody wants to call in. But there is one more article that just blew my mind. I wanted to see what you guys thought. And you guys sound off in the chat too. If you're too shy to call in, that's okay. Republican Ilhan Bromar says Republican is counterculture now.
It is. It's true. It's true.
Hey Trace, how's it going? Thanks for being here tonight. That's a newer moderator. And then did Mr. Atomic, was there any other moderators in here too, or is it just the two of you guys? Is TKO in here tonight? I don't think I've seen TKO, but that's okay. She probably didn't get the notification.
I know.
Right? Let me find this other article. You guys, protesters.
I love all the little toys on the desk.
I brought my dog in here that has no teeth one time, and he's like this.
Oh no!
And I had the Trump doll next to him, and
that's awesome.
I got that off of Amazon. I got that off of Amazon. Awesome. I know.
We need one of these.
I'm gonna get you one.
Yes, and I'll wear it like a medallion, right? So when we're out, I can like, no.
Fake news. Fake news.
I love it.
Protesters, you guys, and this was not, I thought this would be bigger news than it was, but it really wasn't, and it surprised me. There were protesters at the wall here in Arizona near Organ Pipe Cactus National Monument. It says this was November 11th, this article came out. And from, what's this website? Borderreport.com is the source, just so you guys know.
Banging on the
yes,
wall.
there's, okay, maybe I'll play the video afterwards, but
is that new wall?
It looks like it.
So they're banging no wall after the wall's been built.
Yeah. Here, let's
So
play.
not very
Let's
smart.
play this. If it'll let me do it. Hold on. And so, some tribal member spoke too, because it was the tribes.
Oh, but totem.
How do you say that? Yeah.
Tohotum Odom.
Is that what it is?
Tohotum Odom.
Let me see if I can get
Tell
it.
me why you brought this fan out here.
Well, it was informed.
I know this is ghetto, guys. Sorry.
Number one, it was important to be here. I know the young people who actually organized it from the Aho area who are yet to go.
Ridiculous.
And so I'm here to support them, but also to acknowledge all the other people that are here that have been supporting Indian issues throughout the United States, but also.
I'm hoping it'll go over to the protesters.
And when were you tribal leader? What year?
1995 to 2003. I served 2 terms.
And what was your title?
Well, I actually.
Hold on, this is boring. You're boring, sir.
No,
Hold on.
that's not. I don't think that's
Tell me why you brought this fan out here.
Well, it was
I thought I was going to show them there. It kind of does, but sorry. I'm fired.
Banging.
I know.
I'm being here.
Let me see. Sorry, guys. Technical difficulties. It doesn't.
No,
Okay, I'm
it
fired.
was yapping.
I'm fired. Anyway, this was Organ Pipe Cactus National Monument in Arizona. A group of protesters shouted and banged on a section of newly built border wall despite federal officials telling them not to. And at this National Wildlife Refuge in southwestern Arizona. Interesting. So they're protesting on a national wildlife refuge.
Right.
Why couldn't they go somewhere that wasn't a wildlife refuge?
Right.
Probably because they don't want the wall built there. I mean, that makes sense. But about 500 people.
Too bad it's already built.
Right. About 500 people rallied in opposition to the construction of 32 miles of new border wall at the National Monument, a remote desert national park. Although a half dozen National Park Service agents told the protesters that they must stay back 60 feet from the new border wall. The group reached a dirt road adjacent to the new wall and began banging on. They were banging on it, chanting against its construction, and even put their hands and signs through the wall.
Which is interesting because if you remember when I went to go see the new wall construction, they had armed security guarding the construction. I was not allowed anywhere even near it.
Right, they put those no trespassing signs.
And there was a guard with an AR and a bulletproof vest on.
Yeah.
That approached me and was like, "Nope."
Yeah, and they just let these guys.
I mean, because you know why? There's more of them.
And they're liberals, and you can't. Yeah, you can't negotiate with liberals because their mindset is too whacked in the head.
Right.
You know?
Right.
It says about a mile of the new 30-foot tall border wall has so far been built in this desert park where several endangered species live and where construction crews hired by U.S. Customs and Border Protection and the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers were working around the clock to add on miles quickly. You know, all the environmentalists are like, there's species there, they're going to be interrupted. It's not going to. Butterflies can fly
over the wall.
Okay,
through the wall.
Jackrabbits, they go through the wall. The slats. Okay, like I cross illegal jackrabbits. I caught them crossing the border.
Yes. It's true.
It may disrupt things for a few minutes, like while they're building it, because it's loud. I mean, that makes sense, but it's not going to destroy species.
Right.
It's not going to kill them off.
Right.
It's a little ridiculous.
Right.
And when the tribal members are protesting it, it's like, use your brain, okay? Because we took the land before.
Right. We'll take it again.
What? Eminent domain, people. We've talked about eminent domain.
Yes.
And then you take military eminent domain and it's like, sorry, suckers.
Yep. Yep.
You know, don't tempt us.
Yep.
Now everybody's going to be like, there goes the
I know,
white girl.
I know.
There goes the white girl.
Right, yeah. I mean, I have no Mayflower guilt. I know, you know. It's all about conquering.
Trace is laughing.
No Mayflower guilt.
The habitat for jaguars is better in Mexico. They are better off there. Probably. So that's what I've got for you guys tonight. We're going to go ahead and end this live stream because we're right about the 1 hour mark. So thank you guys for being here tonight. Don't forget, if you're not subscribed to the channel, make sure you subscribe. Make sure you hop on over to Facebook and follow AZ Patriots. Jen puts up some great videos and she's always kind enough to let me put her videos on my channel. But, you know, you guys need to go over there, hit that like button over there, hit the like button here, share her videos, share my videos, share it. Hello.
Yeah.
Get the word out there. Send them out on Twitter, text it out to your friend, share it on Facebook. I don't care what you do.
Mm-hmm.
Get the news out there.
That's right.
2020 is right around the corner, you guys. And
That's right.
we need to secure this country. We need to secure re-election for our president. And we need to make sure that patriots like Izzy Patriots and myself do not get
disappear.
Yeah.
We don't get Epstein.
Mm-hmm. Right. Well, we're not friends with the Clintons, so I think we're safe.
That's true.
Right.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, you guys have a good night. Until the next live stream. Peace out.
You heard it, guys. Did you end it? Okay. And so make sure you guys are on